Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Haraye Nama Krishna Yadavaya Nama Hare Haraye Nama Krishna Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Nama Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudhana Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohana Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohana Hare Haraye Nama Krishna Yadavaya Nama Hare Haraye Nama Krishna Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Nama Yadavaya Madhavaya Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudhana Gopal Govinda Ram Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohana Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Nitya Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitya Gaura Hari Bol Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Paribhajagacharya Shtottara Sata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Abhay Charanarvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की श्री प्रभुपाद की प्रभुपाद अनुगा की सामवेत भक्त वृंद की निताय गुरु प्रेमानंदे all glories assembled devotees, all glories assembled devotees, all glories assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories, to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga, all glories to Shri Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Reading from Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 18. Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatir Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatir Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Nashta, destroyed. Prayeshu, almost to nil. Abhadreshu, all that is inauspicious. Nityam, regularly. Bhagavata, Srimad-Bhagavatam, or the pure devotee. Sevaya, by serving. Bhagavati, unto the personality of Godhead. Uttama, transcendental. Shloke, prayers. Bhakti, loving service. Bhavati, comes into being. Naishtiki, irrevocable. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Translation by regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee. All that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Purport: here is the remedy for eliminating all inauspicious things within the heart, which are considered to be obstacles in the path of self-realization. The remedy is the association of the Bhagavatas. There are two types of Bhagavatas, namely the book Bhagavata and the devotee Bhagavata. Both the Bhagavatas are competent remedies, and both of them or either of them can be good enough to eliminate the obstacles. A devotee Bhagavata is as good as the book Bhagavata, because a devotee Bhagavata leads his life in terms of the book Bhagavata, and the book Bhagavata is full of information about the personality of Godhead and His pure devotees who are also Bhagavatas. Bhagavata book and person are identical. The devotee Bhagavata is a direct representative of Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead. So by pleasing the devotee Bhagavata, one can receive the benefit of the book Bhagavata. Human reason fails to understand how by serving the devotee Bhagavata or the book Bhagavata, one gets gradual promotion on the path of devotion. But actually these are facts explained by Srila Narada Deva, who happened to be a maidservant's son in his previous life. The maidservant was engaged in the menial service of the sages, and thus he also came into contact with them. And simply by associating with them and accepting the remnants of foodstuff left by the sages, the son of the maidservant got the chance to become the great devotee and personality of Srila Narada Deva. These are the miraculous effects of the association of Bhagavatas. And to understand these effects practically, it should be noted that by such sincere association of the Bhagavatas, one is sure to receive transcendental knowledge very easily, with the result that he becomes fixed in the devotional service of the Lord. The more progress is made in devotional service under the guidance of the Bhagavatas, the more one becomes fixed in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. The message of the book Bhagavata, therefore, have to be received from the devotee Bhagavata, and the combination of these two Bhagavatas will help the neophyte devotee to make progress on and on. Om Tat Sat Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Today is Bhadra Purnima, a very, very auspicious Purnima. Very notable for the book Bhagavatam. Today, if you present to anybody Srimad-Bhagavatam, it is mentioned that you will go back to Godhead, to Goloka Vrindavana. And Prabhupada is explaining here about the book Bhagavata and the Bhagavata devotee, person Bhagavata. Today is dedicated to hearing something about the book Bhagavata. I shall speak a few words about it. Many devotees are going to accept Bhagavatam today. They have taken a sankalpa that they will take it on Bhadra Purnima. So many devotees are going to accept that
progress.
Today. Bringing Bhagavatam home is like bringing Krishna home. Krishne swadhamo pagate dharma jnanadibhihi saha kalau nashtadrisham esham puranarko adunoditaha. In Kali Yuga, Krishna, at the end of the Dwapara Yuga, he left. Krishne swadhamo upagate. Swadhama, he went back to his abode. And it is mentioned that the absence of Krishna affected people very much, all those his devotees especially. But in the Bhagavatam it is mentioned that he has reappeared in the form of a book, Bhagavat. Puranarka adunoditaha. To replace him, the Lord has appeared like the sun rising again. Arka means sun. Puranarka adunoditaha. This brilliant Purana, like the sun, has risen again to substitute Krishna. So Bhagavatam is non-different from Krishna. Bhagavatam is considered to be the emperor of all the scriptures. Chakravarti Pada. Jiva Goswami is saying, therefore Bhagavat is the emperor of all the scriptures. Everything is contained in the Bhagavatam. Everything is contained in the Bhagavat. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur is known to have said, if all the literature in this world is burnt, only the Bhagavatam is retained. All the literature in this world is burnt, only the Bhagavatam is retained. There will be no loss. He has said, only the Bhagavatam is retained and all the literature is burnt. There will be no loss at all. So, everything is contained in the Bhagavatam, right from the lowest information that you want to the topmost information that you want. So, Prabhupada is explaining here about the book Bhagavatam and the person Bhagavatam. The book Bhagavatam, we have understood, is non-different from Krishna. In fact, in the Padma Purana, there is a description of the form of the Bhagavatam. Krishna has got a beautiful form. Right? Venum Kwanantam Aravinda Dalayataksham Barahavatam Samasitam Buddhasundarangam Kandarpakoti Kamaniya Vishesha Sobham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. We are chanting this Brahma Samhita prayers. He has got a very beautiful form. Venum Kwanantam. He is blowing his flute. Aravinda Dalayataksham, very beautiful eyes like a lotus petal. Barahavatam, a nice, beautiful peacock feather. Samasitam Buddhasundarangam, extremely beautiful. Kandarpakoti Kamaniya Vishesha Sobham. There are crores and crores of cupids, Kamadevas. They are getting bewildered by the beauty of Krishna. Right? This way there is a description given. The Bhagavatam has also got a form described. The Bhagavatam is like 12 cantos. And from the first canto onwards up to the 12th canto is compared to the form of the Lord. The first canto is his lotus feet. We are today reading from the first canto. the lotus feet of the Lord. We are reading from the first canto. First canto is the lotus feet, and then the shin, and this thing is the second canto, and like that it goes on. The fifth canto is his hips, and the 10th canto is his face, and the 11th canto is his forehead. The 12th canto is the kiridam on his head. Like that, every part of his body is compared to a canto. That is the form of the Lord. That is why we start reading from the first canto. When you take darshan of the Lord, you actually should take darshan from the lotus feet onwards up to the lotus face. In the same way, you start reading from the first canto and go up to the 12th canto. In between is the 10th canto, which is the largest canto. It has got huge amount of information. Huge, about 2/3 of the Bhagavatam is the 10th canto itself. Full Krishna Leela, Dwaraka Leela, Mathura Leela, Vrindavana Leela, everything mentioned inside there. So this is the form of the Bhagavatam. The Bhagavatam is a person. So we worship the Bhagavatam. Today we shall be conducting worship of the Bhagavat, because Bhagavatam today, if you give anybody a set of the Bhagavatam, you will go back to Godhead. You will go back to Goloka Vrindavana. But looks like not many people are very interested in going back to Godhead immediately, because I don't know much about it, but a lot of fortunate souls have specifically wanted to go back to Godhead today, and so they have Sankalpa, today I will take the Bhagavatam and I will give it to so and so or whatever. This is a fact. This is true. Because this is the mercy of Krishna. This is the mercy of Krishna. Krishna gives concessions. Although there are rules and regulations according to Varnashrama, the concessional aspect is bhakti. If you develop devotion to the Lord, there are lots of concessions available. Lots of discounts available in Bhakti Yoga. In Jnana, in Karma, in Ashtanga Yoga, there is not much concession. It's very rigid. But in Bhakti, there is lots of concession, because Krishna gets personally involved when you practice Bhakti. So the Bhagavatam is filled with Bhakti. It's Bhakti Rasa, it's Rasika Grantha. Nigama kalpattaror galitam phalam sukhamukhad amrita dravasam yutam pibata bhagavatam rasamalayam muhuraho rasika bhuvi bhavuka. That it is mentioned that Nigama kalpattaror galitam phalam, the full Vedic tree, the ripened fruit of that tree is Srimad-Bhagavatam. Galitam phalam means it's ripened. Sukhamukhad amrita drava samyutam. It is coming from the mouth of Sukadeva Goswami. If you read the Bhagavatam, the chapter, the appearance of Shukadeva. Parikshit Maharaj is on the bank of the Ganges. He has been cursed, and within 7 days he'll get bitten by a Takshaka and he will die, a snake. And he has renounced everything, his kingdom, his wealth, his family and everybody else. And he has come to ask the sages, what should I do in 7 days' time? How can I perfect myself? And it's a very amazing story, because Parikshit is such a wonderful, great devotee. Personally installed on the throne by Yudhishthira Maharaj before he left. He installed Parikshit and Vajra Nabha in Vajranabha in Mathura and Parikshit in Hastinapur. And then he left, the Pandavas all left. And Parikshit ruled so powerfully that he was able to keep even Kali wanted to enter. Said, if you enter, I'll finish you, I'll kill you. And Kali was very afraid of him. He was so powerful. And he got cursed by a Brahmana boy. And he decided that the time has come for me to retire and actually look into something. Look, there is a calling for me. This is the Lord's arrangement. He knew, so he left everything and went to the bank of the Ganges. And hearing that Parikshit, the great emperor of the whole world has renounced. News went everywhere, all over, in all the planets. People start coming from everywhere to meet him. He's on the bank of the Ganges. He's so famous, a Raja Rishi, very great, pure devotee. He also does not know what is the plan of the Lord. There is some plan that these things never happened to me. Why will I go and put a dead snake around Samika Rishi's neck? Why did I do it? And why is this boy cursing me? All these are things that never happen. So there is some plan unfolding. So he did not react to anything. He just said, let it go, let me see. Krishna has some plan for me. And he goes there and he asks all the sages and everybody, what should I do? And there's a whole lot of sages of all types. There are yogis, there are jnanis, there are all sorts of people, tapasvis, and all of them are very amazed to see Parikshit. Such a great devotee, such a wonderful devotee, such a great king, so responsible person, renouncing everything, coming on the bank, and one small boy has done all these things. He has cursed Parikshit. How can this happen like this? So everybody is equally worried, bewildered, don't know how to handle the situation. It's a global crisis. Why? One person who is ruling, who is so good as saying, okay, I'm done with it. It's a huge crisis. So everybody has come from everywhere. In that assembly is also Vyasadev. There is Narada Muni. There is Parashara Muni. And there is a description that when he's sitting there, with just his little gamcha and his hair tied up, and he's given up everything, the powerful Parikshit, that time Shukadeva Goswami walks inside. And the description of it is that Shukadeva is surrounded by dogs barking and women and young boys, because he's looking very different. They really don't know who he is. He is looking very different. He's naked. Digambara. He's got beautiful hair flowing down. His complexion is exactly like Krishna. Blackish. He's got beautiful eyes. 16-year-old boy. Just 16-year-old. And he's just walking and coming. He's completely oblivious of all these people around him. There are women looking at his beauty. In the forest. What a beautiful fellow this fellow is. He's just walking like that naked. Nobody in charge of him. So they're looking at him and he's not bothered. He's oblivious to that. And these boys and all are running around and they're also amazed at his looks and his tejas. And the dogs are also moving around. And he's just walking and coming. He appears there in that assembly. He appears there in that assembly and stops and looks at Parikshit, and Parikshit immediately pays obeisances to him. And the entire assembly of all the sages immediately pay obeisances to him. All of them pay obeisances. Then he looks around and he sees his father Vyasadeva. Then he sees his grandfather Parashara Muni. He sees Narada, and he bends down and pays obeisances to all of them. And then Parikshit is giving them seat. Please sit down. You definitely look like somebody who has been sent to solve the problem. And everybody knows this person is something very unique. He is respect-worthy. They immediately paid obeisances to him. Then he takes the seat naturally. And he sits down and adjusts himself, and Parikshit starts asking questions. This has happened to me, what should I do? And instantly Shukadeva Goswami says, you should chant the name of Krishna, you should do Harinama Kirtan, you should hear the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. Shanavanti Gayanti Gradanti Abhikshashaha. He tells him very beautifully. And Parikshit starts asking questions, and the Bhagavatam comes out of Shukadeva Goswami. And Shukadeva Goswami is very inspired and excited at the questions of Parikshit Maharaj. Is enthused to speak about Krishna. Naturally it is happening. We arrange for so many things, Bhagavatam class to happen, and then they put this thing, there is no water sometimes, and this thing is not working, the sound is not working, and this is not there, that is not there, and so many things happen, and finally everybody falls asleep also. Finally people fall asleep. All sorts of things happen. This is the meaning of man-made Bhagavatam class. This is naturally occurring, Daiva, arrangement of the Lord. Why? The Bhagavatam is being born. It's being spoken for the first time. I shouldn't say first time, it's been spoken before. But in this setting, first time. Right? The Shukadeva Goswami has heard it from his father Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva was waiting for Shukadeva Goswami to speak this. I want to speak it to my son. And Shukadeva Goswami took a long time to be born. He was controlling his birth. He was in his mother's womb. He was 16 years old. He is still in his mother's womb. Can you imagine? 16 years she bore him. He refused to come out because this Maya will eat me up. And so Vyasadeva was requesting, my son, nothing will happen, you please. So he went to Dwaraka and bought Krishna. Please convince him to come out. And Krishna came from Dwaraka all the way to Vyasadeva's house. And then he guaranteed to Shukadeva Goswami, I am telling you, I am the master of Maya. Maya dikshena prakriti suyateta characharam. Maya will not ever affect you. Guarantee, I am giving. And then he left. Then Shukadeva was born. He was born 16 years old. There's no birthday celebration, he is 1 year old, 2 year old and all. As soon as he was born, he just left the home. He didn't even see who is his father, who is his mother. Such a person he is. Brahman realized already on the spiritual platform. He just walks out and his father goes behind him saying, my son, my son. He just walked off. He just walked off. And he went off into the forest to meditate and be in this thing. And then somewhere in the forest he hears one day very nice shlokas chanted. Ahobakiyam stanakalakotam jiggam sayayadapiya sadhavi lebe katim dhatri uchitam tatonyam Kamva dayalum sharanam tvameva. Very beautiful, they are singing. All boys are singing and they are collecting wood and all that. His meditation broke and he went to them and said, very nice verses you are singing. From where? Sing again. And they kept singing Bhagavatam verses. So where did you hear this from? Said Vyasadeva is teaching us. I want to come with you. He came back with the disciples of Vyasadeva back to the ashram, and he met his father again. His father was so happy to see. But what brought him back is the Bhagavatam, not his father, not his parents, not his house or anything. It's the Bhagavatam that brought him back. And his father said, yes, I want to speak this to you. He heard from his father, the Bhagavat. The entire Bhagavatam he heard from his father. And he is supremely enlightened, so happy, hearing all the pastimes of Krishna. And he is now sitting in this assembly of so many transcendentalists, of varieties of transcendentalists. And he is enthused to speak because Parikshit Maharaj's questions are so eager. This is how the Bhagavatam is born. There's another history to it. Actually, the Bhagavatam is, before this was also spoken, before Vyasadeva speaking to this thing, it was also spoken in Vrindavan. Uddhava speaks to all the wives of Krishna and to Vajranabha and everybody. And there is also Parikshit at that time. Because he is told about his forefathers and the Pandavas and everything. And all the queens of Krishna are also with him, is protecting them and all that. And he is told by a great sage, forget his name, starting with V. What is his name? A great says that if Uddhava is living in these grasses, he came to visit the gopis under Krishna's order and Vrajavasis, and he came there and found their a devotion to be so exalted that he said, if I can get the dust of the feet of the gopis on my head, I will also be a devotee and enjoy this type of a amazing devotion. So I should become grass here. And then he became. So he said that if you do kirtan here, Uddhava will come from here and he will tell you the glories of Krishna. So this actually happened. They did big kirtan, Vajranabha, Parikshit, and the wives of Krishna, and so many of them together. And there came Uddhava. He came there and they all requested him, he should speak about Krishna to us, and he spoke. At that time, Uddhava told Parikshit, but you should go back. Kali is already getting inside. That's how he sent him back. He said, what about me? I have to hear Bhagavatam. Special arrangement has been made for you. You will hear the Bhagavatam from Shukadeva Goswami. So having got that guarantee, he left. And that is how he protected, stopped Kali from coming inside. And then that's why he knows something is going to happen here. I have been told these things. So he already knows this. So when he saw Shukadeva Goswami, he was increasingly happy. And then he started asking him questions. You know, we always want so many questions asked and we never got an opportunity and the time, and we are always, mismatch. This time doesn't match with that, and when I come, so-and-so is not here, when I, this thing, that, it doesn't match. Questions keep accumulating inside you. So, finally when you get the chance, it comes out of you like a flood. Why this, why that, this. Like that, Parikshit Maharaj is also waiting. And Krishna has made arrangement for him. And he starts asking questions like a flood, one after the other. And he's enjoying the answers because the right person he has got in front of him. Perfect questions, perfect answers. And both of them are enjoying. Shukadeva Goswami is enjoying answering the questions of Parikshit. And Parikshit is enjoying asking these questions and getting these answers. That's why he went on asking questions and answers. 7 days, 7 nights, they never slept. Not ate anything, didn't drink water, didn't eat any food. Didn't sleep. This is the result, what we are holding in our hands today. They were just excited like nothing. Parikshit was, oh, wonderful. Now tell me why this happened, why that happened. Connected questions he's keeping on asking. This is how the Bhagavatam was born in this particular age for us. And today, it is in the form of this book. If it was not like this, nobody will read it. This is Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada's contribution. He worked very, very hard to bring this to this point. He wanted to give it to everybody in this world. Right? And this is the one literature that will save everybody and save whole human society and do the greatest good to all of them. You can't glorify the Bhagavatam enough. You can never finish glorifying the Bhagavatam. Only a person who reads the Bhagavatam regularly will know, wow, I want to get back to it. Becomes your greatest friend. The Bhagavatam becomes your greatest experience. It becomes the greatest source of knowledge, the greatest source of relationship, the best rasa, everything, and you can never leave it. You can keep reading and reading and reading. So beautiful, it flows. Questions, answers, and all sorts of stories, exotic stories. Filled with bhakti, filled with rasa, filled with pastimes of the Lord, and you can understand His beautiful, wonderful qualities. So many things come forth. It's great education, how to live in this world, what you should do, what you should not do, how to spend time, how not to spend time, what is the best thing to do. All these things you get to know. There's no limit to how much you can learn by reading the Bhagavatam. So this is Krishna offering himself, and a pure devotee of Krishna, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, has commented on it. You get his association. You associate with Krishna. You associate with Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. You associate with Parikshit, Shukadeva Goswami and all these wonderful characters. And each time you read, it's like you had a fresh bath. You just had a bath. And you feel so clean and so good. You will feel this when you read the Bhagavad. You will feel this when you read the Bhagavad. So that is why Jiva Goswami is saying, this is the emperor of the scriptures. You don't need to read anything else. Kimva parairishwaraha sadyo hridyavarudyate atra kritibihi sushushubhi stakshanat. What is the necessity for any other literature? Srimad-Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kimva Parairishwaraha. Mahamuni means Vyasadeva. This Bhagavatam written by Vyasadeva is there. What is the need for any other scripture? Kimva Parairishwaraha Sadyo Hridyavarudyate Atrakritibihi Sushushubhi Stakshana. Takshana, that moment you will feel the experience of Krishna as soon as you start entering the Bhagavatam. So Prabhupada valued, all the great acharyas valued, they all wrote commentaries on it. Jiva Goswami's commentary is there, Sanatan Goswami's commentary is there, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary is there, Madhvacharya has given a commentary. All sorts of great acharyas have given commentary on the Bhagavatam. Right? And why? Because it is the essence. It is said that Srimad-Bhagavatam is a natural commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. Arthoyam Brahma Sutranam Bharatartha Vinirnayah Gayatri Bhashyasyo Ruposau Vedartha Paribrambitah. It is mentioned that Arthoyam Brahma Sutranam, the natural commentary of the Brahma Sutra, the Vedanta Sutra, is the Bhagavatam. That is why you have that big pastime of the Ramanandi, some branched followers of Ramanuja. They were advisors to the king in Jaipur, the Ramanandis. They are very devout Vaishnavas and very wonderful devotees. But every sampradaya has a commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. Ramanuja's sampradaya is also written on the Vedanta Sutra. So everybody is written on Vedanta Sutra. So he happened to ask, you Gaudiya Vaishnava people know, what do you follow? What book do you follow? You don't have a commentary from your Acharya like that. So these type of questions came up. I'm just shortening it. It's got a lot of detail. And so the king did not know how to handle it, so he sent word to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, who had become very old. He is a great commentator on the Bhagavatam. And so he sent word, and then since he was too old to come all the way to Jaipur, he sent his disciple Baladeva Vidyabhushan, who is studying with him. Baladeva Vidyabhushan has got a Madhva background also. And so he is studying in Vrindavan, with Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So he said, you go and you answer the questions. So Baladeva Vidyabhushan, very powerful scholar, he went all the way, and then he was asked, where is your commentary? He said, the Bhagavatam is a natural commentary. He said, we don't need a commentary. Why you have to sit and comment? The same person who is writing the Vedanta Sutra is also the person who has written the Bhagavatam, and his final work is the Bhagavatam. There is no requirement for a commentary. Oh, no. Okay, I can get you a commentary. That's not a problem. From the Bhagavatam we have to write it, so I can get you a commentary. He just happened to say it. Within so and so time I can give you the commentary. And he didn't know why he said it. He came back to Govindadev and he offered his prayers and said, I just said it like that. I don't know why. Now you must only save me and save the whole respect and honor and dignity of the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. Don't worry. The Lord told him in the day, don't worry, I'll dictate to you, you write it. And then the Lord dictated him, Govindadev dictated the whole thing to him. It's called Govinda Bhashya. All the commentaries of this thing is called Bhashya. Parijata Bhashya, Sharirika Bhashya, and like that, different types of commentaries. So it is called Govinda Bhashya because it's Govinda who dictated it. He came and gave that to them and said, this is the commentary. And they were very surprised to read it. But actually, we don't read that much at all. Although it is Govinda Bhashya, I don't know, nobody refers to it much. We refer to the Bhagavatam. Continue to refer to the Bhagavatam. If somebody officially wants to know what's our commentary here, read it, Govinda Bhashya. It's the same thing is here. Same thing is here. So the Bhagavatam is so important. It's so important and it is so powerful and it is full of the essence of all the scripture and everything you need to know. Everything you need to know. That is why we should scrutinizingly study the Srimad-Bhagavatam. Prabhupada has told us that. And it is very enjoyable. It should be introduced for all levels of people. The youngest of the youngest, they should read the Bhagavatam. The children should read Bhagavatam stories. And they should understand nice things from the Bhagavatam. Nice lessons, nice instructions. Youth, they should read the Bhagavatam. There's a lot of instruction there for youth. Adults, people who want to govern a whole kingdom can read the Bhagavatam, how to do. Politically motivated people can read the Bhagavatam and pick up a lot of stuff. Scientists can read the Bhagavatam and get to know, wow, these are the things worth exploring. Philosophers can read the Bhagavatam. Religionists can read the Bhagavatam. There's theology, there's philosophy, there is science, there is commerce, there is sociology, you name it. Every subject matter, the root and the foundation is in the Bhagavatam. And all these pastimes you will hear, those things will come out as lessons in each of these pastimes. How to be a good human being, how to be a devotee, who are the most pure devotees of Krishna. All these things you can hear from the Bhagavatam. So there's nothing that is missed out in the Bhagavatam. Nothing that is missed out. Then you hear the best thing is the pastimes of the Lord in Vrindavana. That is like the epitome. That is like the zenith. That is like the top pinnacle of the Srimad-Bhagavatam. Especially in that, the Rasa Leela of the Lord. And then his relationships in Vatsalya Rasa with his mother. In his relationships with the Gopas, relationships with the Gopis, with the queens in Dwaraka. And so many amazing pastimes, and each one of them is filled with instructions. And all these acharyas, especially Prabhupada, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and all of them, they come out with, Prabhupada in his Bhagavatam purports will come out with applications in this day and age of this principle. He'll speak about economy, he'll speak about government, he'll speak about environment, he'll speak about how to look after and reciprocate with nature, with the bhumi. So many amazing solutions to climate change, solutions to economy, solutions to the government problem, to leadership. Especially leadership, you can get to know so many things. Amazing amount of things. Right? Everything is there in the Bhagavatam. In fact, we should teach the Bhagavatam only. Fundamentals to Bhagavatam, Bhagavatam University. That's enough. Everybody will become perfect human beings and they'll be completely cultured. There'll be no problem in society. Because Krishna has made everything complete. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. The first shloka invocation. And after that, you will hear in the Isoparishad this. Everything that comes from the Lord is perfect. And this whole world is actually perfectly done. We are all perfect. But Prabhupada said we misuse ourselves, we misuse the world and make everything incomplete and imperfect. It's misutilizing, mismanagement, and wrong type of understanding. So this world can be a very happy place if it is used as per the design. You should understand God, you should understand why He has put us here and what is the design. He has done everything carefully to look after His children. Simply follow it and you'll be very happy. So it's not that the world is miserable. The world may be temporary. It is real, and it is a creation of the Lord. And it is meant to house you and teach you. It's a fantastic university. It doesn't have four walls with a lock and a key and people looking over you and exams of that sort and all that. The education is very, very highly, should I say, top class. And you're getting educated here. Fall into that proper category, and if you utilize the situation nicely, everything is wonderful. And the scintillating pinnacle of that is the condensation given in the Bhagavatam. Right? So, it is mentioned in the Bhagavatam, this is also mentioned, that people in this world don't know. Lokasya ajanato chakre satvata samhita. Because they don't know who God is, they don't know why they are suffering, and don't know anything about themselves also. The great Vyasadeva composed this Bhagavatam for them. You see? So, like I was telling you, Arthoyam Brahma Sutranam, the real commentary of the Vedanta Sutra, the natural commentary, is the Srimad-Bhagavatam. Bharatartha Vinirnaya hai. Mahabharatam, you have lot. When you read Mahabharata, everybody has 101 questions. Moral, ethical questions. So many questions. All that are resolved very nicely only in the Bhagavad. You'll see the same instances explained in the Bhagavad and questioned. And answers coming from Shukadeva Goswami. Very beautiful. So, Bharatartha Vinirnaya. If you want to understand anything, you have doubts in the scripture or any inconsistency you feel, people have all sorts of questions now. Why did Bhishma not help Draupadi when she was getting disrobed? Why all the elders were just standing and watching? Why did Dhritarashtra do this? Put a woman into such, horrible situation. Even today we can't dream of something like this. And then somebody will ask, why did Krishna kill Karna when he was lifting the way? Ask him to do like this. Why did he dance in the middle of the night with all married women? Rasa Leela. We just cannot make out. Human reason, Prabhupada said, fails to understand. He's saying, you read that. Human reason fails to understand this. Cannot understand it. Because we are stuck in this Dvandva Moha. But if you read the Bhagavatam, you'll understand perfectly well why Krishna did this. And why he can do it, and why you should see it completely differently, in a transcendental way, as pastime of Krishna. What is the meaning of that? All these things get very sweetly resolved in the Bhagavatam, right? And Krishna also enacts these pastimes to cover those questions that we have. In the pastime of Govardhana Leela, Krishna will so easily convince his father and all the elderly cowherd men to stop worshipping Indra. Who is Indra? He's nobody. You should worship me. I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But he puts it in a different way. He said, worship this hill. Govardhan is the one supplying all your cows the best of grass, mountains, caves, water, waterfalls, lakes, and so many wonderful things, fruits, vegetables, flowers. No, should be worshipped. He changed the whole thing from Indra worship to mountain worship. And then he assumed the form of that mountain and said, I am Govardhan. And he accepted all the offerings. Such an amazing Leela. Today people roll around the Govardhan and do parikrama, remembering this. It's some 22, 24 kilometers. They just roll and roll and roll in the dust, remembering Krishna. What an amazing Leela you did. You made everybody worship a hill and said, I am that hill. Take it or leave it. I am that hill. So everybody worships the hill. Govardhan, lovingly. So in this way, Krishna did some very amazing leelas to show, don't have to worship the demigods. You just need to worship me. Mamekam sharanam vraja. You don't have to worry about all that. So there is no compromise. The Bhagavatam directly points out, who is God? Krishna is God. How does he look like? This is how he looks like. His description of him. What does he do? These are all the leelas he did. What happens to you if you become his devotee? This is what will happen to you. Where do you want to go? This is where you go. Vaikuntha, Goloka Vrindavana. Every question is answered correctly, to the point. And proof is given for that. Evidence is there, pastimes are there, real life happenings are there. The stories are discussed by all these great personalities, Maitreya, Vidura, and Shukadeva Goswami, and Parikshit Maharaj. And there is so many conversations in between. It's an exciting journey. It's adventure, it's romance, it is, governance, it is war, it is conflict, it is misunderstanding. Everything you always wanted to see in a movie and you're excited about is all there about 50,000 times more intensely. If you simply read the Bhagavatam, it's great. I don't know why they're not making movies on the Bhagavad. Each of these stories and so many things you can learn. People are busy watching Game of Thrones and this and that and all. It's all fictitious stories. But you get real life stories which are far more intensely deep than these stories. So Srimad-Bhagavatam is very worshipable. Keep it very close to your heart. Indulge in the Srimad-Bhagavatam every day. It is your right. It's your greatest possession. And it is your greatest gratification. The best of gratifications you can have is to take a little prasadam, chant Hare Krishna, open the Bhagavatam and read together with people. Do a little kirtan. Don't make life so complicated with 10,000 and other things to do. If you don't find time to read the Bhagavatam, you are useless. That's all to be said. However extreme statement it is, you're useless if you don't read the Bhagavatam every day. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Because only if you read and hear, you will know what it is doing to you. You'll experience it. You will feel it. Ye Leela Amrita Vina Khaya Yadi Annapane Tabe Bhakter Jivana. What is it? Yare ek bindu pane utful tanumane hase gaya koraye nartana. Very beautiful shloka in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that says, Ye leela amrita vina khaya yadi annapane. What is the use of eating simply rice here? Anna. Without having tasted the bund of Srimad-Bhagavatam. Ye leela amrita vina khaya. Without that if you eat, khaya yadi annapane tabe bhaktera durbala jivana, then your devotional life will become so weak. But arek bindu pane utfulita tanumane, if you take one drop of the Srimad Bhagavatam, one drop of this beautiful literature, utfulita tanumane hase gaya koraye nartana, one drop if you consume, you will dance and laugh and chant and be very happy. But people are working so hard to be happy. Morning to evening, they've got a corporate job, they've got this they have to do, that to do, this to repair, I have to look into my messages, I do that. They're so busy and they hardly get time to enjoy what they're working for. But somebody in the village is sitting and reading. If you go to Vrindavan, you see these people. They have nothing to do. Morning they take bath in the Yamuna, they eat a little, beg some roti, sit down and Bhagavatam. The whole day they're reading Bhagavatam. They're happy. They're happy in their own world. Nobody can say you're not happy to them because they're experiencing the happiness. And who cares what your standard of happiness is? Right now, in this spot, now I am reading the Bhagavad, chanting Hare Krishna, staying in Vrindavan, and I'm happy. This is India. You don't need anything to be happy. You just need the Bhagavatam and the chanting mala. This is the greatest wealth. And this is created by Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada for all people in this world. He has printed it in so many languages. He's flooding the whole world with it. And there are so many people in all sorts of places have discovered Bhagavad and they're reading. I don't even know. But when I go around and meet people, they tell me all sorts of stories in their own language, that they have read the Bhagavatam so many times and they have done this, they have done that. They're in their own world, in the Bhagavat world. So this is an amazing phenomenon, the Bhagavat phenomenon in Kali Yuga, engineered by His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, the greatest of Bhagavatas in recent times. Walking, moving, mobile Bhagavat, Srila Prabhupada. So It's a great opportunity today to glorify the Bhagavatam a little bit. I can go on and on. We can talk about stories and everything. But since there are some other engagements for me, I shall stop here. Srimad-Bhagavatam ki, Bhadra Purnima Mahotsavam ki, Nittai Gaura Premanande.